Hello, everyone. Thank you for engaging with us this evening for our virtual program on parenting in a gender-based violence environment. We hope you'll sit back, relax, as we learn what gender-based violence is, who's at risk, how to parent in a gender-based violence environment, and learn tips, tools, and strategies to support you. You will also hear about what supports and services are available to you and your family here in Nova Scotia. Before we get started with the program, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship. We are all treaty people. Let's get started. Before we get into our presentations this evening, I'd like to introduce all of you to the voices you'll be hearing this evening. First, let me introduce you to Amanda Dynes. Amanda is the Child, Youth, and Parenting Support Counselor at Autumn House. Next is Megan McNeil. Megan is a Child and Youth Outreach Worker at the Mi'kmaq Family Healing Center in Millbrook. Next is Melissa Clark, who will be co-facilitating with me tonight. Melissa is the Inclusion Navigator at the Halifax and Region MFRC. And my name is Ann Sampson Roach, and I'm a Family Wellbeing Counselor, also at the Halifax and Region MFRC. Tonight, we have the great privilege of introducing you to two distinguished presenters who work on the front lines with women and children who have fled gender-based violence situations with their children. Both of our speakers are child and youth counselors with the Transition Homes of Nova Scotia, and again, they are Amanda Dynes and Megan McNeil. Each presenter will be speaking to you tonight for about 20 minutes about their gender-based violence work with women and children. After each speaker has had the opportunity to present their work, we will have a question and answer period. Participants will have the opportunity to ask presenters questions using the chat feature. We ask that you frame your question to the speakers directed at their work that they have presented here this evening. Speakers will not be taking any personal questions based on your personal circumstances. You may use the chat box to ask a question, and my co-facilitator Melissa will ask each speaker the question on your behalf. Time will be limited, and we may not be able to get to everyone's question. Please contact the MFRC if your question was not read, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Our first presenter this evening is Amanda Dynes. Amanda has been a child, youth, and parenting support counselor at Autumn House in Amherst for the past 2.5 years. She has a Bachelor of Social Studies, a Bachelor of Education, and almost 13 years of experience with children, youth, and their families in different roles and capacities. It is my pleasure to welcome Amanda. Please go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, thank you very much for having me today. First, I'm actually going to begin today with a bit of a visualization. And this visualization has the potential to be triggering for someone who is or has experienced intimate partner violence. Our bodies are really great at letting us know where our boundary is. You'll feel it when you're getting close. I invite you to decide to put me on mute when I begin, or you can choose to push your boundaries a bit. If you're choosing to push, I want you to balance pushing your boundaries with noticing your discomfort and deciding to say, yeah, this is my edge, and then putting me on mute. Once I'm finished, I'm going to give you a thumbs up to let you know that it's safe to rejoin us with the volume on. Okay, I'm gonna start. I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze so that your visual field is reduced. Let yourself notice you are sitting in a chair or on a couch, and move your feet to the ground if they're not already there. Wiggle your toes to help you connect with the ground under you, supporting you. I would like you to begin this exercise by holding the image in your mind of what I will call a safe man. This can be a man you know, or a man from a film or a novel. Either are fine. Some of us can't find someone in our real lives that we could give this description to, and so an imaginary man works here. When I say safe man, I'm describing a man who does not frighten children, a man who does not intimidate or belittle women, a man who is not violent or threatening. This is a man who is respectful and kind, a gentleman, a safe man. Hold that image. Notice how you feel, how your body feels as you imagine this person. Now I want you to set this image aside. Now I will ask you to imagine a different person. I want you to think of a woman, a mother, maybe about 26 years old. Today has been really hard for her. She has a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they've been home for a few days now because of a positive COVID test. Neither kiddo seems sick, but they were both emotional wrecks today. So is she. She looks up at the clock and her heart sinks. She starts to panic. Her husband will be home soon. The house is a write-off and she hasn't even started dinner. She just realized she forgot to take out meat to defrost. Her chest tightens, her legs feel like jello, and she's shaking and sobbing quietly to herself while she scrambles to try to get the dishes done. And the kids are being needy again. She plops them in front of in front of tablets with a treat. But what if he walks in right now and sees them eating candy in front of a screen? Her thoughts are all over the place. Her palms are sweating and she's frantically trying to get the toys in the bins and the dirty diapers to the trash. Suddenly she hears the front door open. What might happen now? Now I'd like you to imagine that her husband is one of those safe men you visualized at the beginning of this activity. What happens now? Maybe he embraces her and shares his calm. He helps her pick up and then he gets on the phone and orders some pizza for dinner. I invite you to open your eyes and bring your gaze back to the screen. What if we lived in a world full of safe people? The ultimate long-term goal of what we do is just that, to create a world full of safe people, people who know what safe looks like, people who know what safe feels like, people who know how to be safe. Our ultimate goal is to break the cycle. We're going to head into some definitions and then a bit of kind of an overview to show you some of the ways we're working towards that. But first, we're going to do a quick mindfulness exercise that I like to use with the kiddos to recenter us and get us ready for the rest of the presentation. I want you to scrunch up your toes and make all the muscles in your legs really, really strong. Try not to hold your breath as you straighten and stiffen your back, and then squeeze the muscles in your arms. Make your hands into fists and scrunch up your face real tight if you feel like it. If you want, squeeze your eyes shut. Now take a long breath in, and as you let the air out, slowly let all those muscles go. Take another long breath in, and as you let the air out, release and relax all your muscles and settle deeper into your chair. So we're going to go through a few things. First, we're going to start just with some basic definitions about what gender-based violence and abuse are. Then we're going to talk a bit about where we are and what we offer, and then a deeper dive into some of the topics that we might cover in our time together. So first, what is gender-based violence? Gender-based violence refers to harmful acts directed at an individual based on their gender expression, identity, or perceived gender. It's rooted in gender equality, the abuse of power, and harmful norms. Anyone can be affected by gender-based violence. However, women, girls, and members of the LGBTQ2S+ community are more at risk of experiencing gender-based violence. And this last part is why I chose to structure the visualization that we did the way I did. Intersectionality matters. Some are at even higher risk due to the additional discrimination and barriers that they face. This includes women with disabilities, Indigenous women, racialized women, trans and non-binary people, and women who are homeless or underhoused. So for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to be focusing on abuse of an intimate partner. And abuse is a repetitive pattern of behaviors to maintain power and control over an intimate partner. While we often assume that abuse is physical, there are in fact many forms of domestic violence. Some are less obvious and difficult to see, but are no less devastating. Different forms of abuse can be occurring at the same time. And you can see around here that I've listed some of the different kinds of abuse that we often focus on. In this also, Isolation is often used as a way to control. And so the isolation that comes with living in a transitional community, plus likely being stationed away from friends and family, can make that isolation piece worse. We can be part of your network of support if you'll let us be. You can either reach out to us and ask to remain anonymous so you can test the waters and get a feel for us. We don't have call display. Or you can opt to set up regular appointments with a women's support counselor. It's completely free and completely confidential, with the typical limits of confidentiality, example being a risk to yourself or others. We understand that often during your partner's deployment may be the only time you get some time to reach out for help. We do our best to be as flexible as you need us to be. And if you need to take a time out from using our services for whatever reason, we can pick right back up with our working relationship as soon as you're ready or able to. We're always here for you. So this slide here shows some of the shelters we have, all of the shelters we have across the province. And I've noted a few using stars on the side. Alice House, the first one there that starred, is a second stage shelter. Naomi Society, which has 1 star down under Millbrook, they are outreach only. Willow House, I didn't notice there, but Willow House is also Cape Breton Transitional House. And then Millbrook and Wakeba offer culturally sensitive support and care for Indigenous peoples. But I want to be sure to note that they serve all people. And the next slide, please. So our range of services, because first of all, we have a 24-hour communal emergency shelter here. And often people think that is the beginning and end of the services that we offer. So we also have a 24-hour crisis line. We have in-house support counseling, outreach support counseling. We do court support and accompaniment, advocacy, emergency protection order applications, support with navigating systems and services, paperwork support, parenting support. We have pet programs. We have a specific pet, it's called Pet Safe here at Autumn House, but other shelters have connections with animal shelters or vets in their communities to help ensure that owning pets and not wanting to leave them behind is not a barrier for leaving an unsafe situation. We also have men's programs, children and youth programs, and we do school and community presentations. And so I've noted here something that many people don't know, and that's that you don't need to access shelter ever in order to receive services. In fact, most of the people that we support never come in for shelter at all. Another one is that many women who use our services are still in the relationships that they're wanting to talk about. They want to find a way to keep their family together, but in a healthier way, and that's okay. We can still be here and be a support system for that. So now we're going to briefly go over some of the topics you might cover with a women's support counselor if you are doing in-house support counseling or outreach support counseling. Your time with your counselor is highly individualized and based on your wants and needs. But I'll just go over a few of the possibilities to help give you an idea of what appointments might look like. And then I'll end on a piece specific to parenting children and youth before handing it over to Megan. So this first one here, the cycle of abuse. This is a topic that's often covered. It looks different in every relationship. Sometimes there's no honeymoon period or calm. Sometimes it's like there isn't any warning, like there's no tension building period. Often though, an abusive relationship has its own patterns. Learning to recognize the pattern can be a powerful realization and can be incredibly helpful for safety planning. And the next topic that you might cover is healthy love. What does healthy love look like? What does equality look like? What does equity look like? And another topic we might cover is, next slide, please. Thanks. Red flags. So you might go over what some of the red flags you might see in this current relationship or future relationships, to help kind of create a pattern of searching for and knowing what a healthy relationship feels like. You might go over some boundaries and values. And when I think of boundaries, I kind of envision like a property line or the defining lines of a shape, Boundaries help you define what you are comfortable with and how you would like to be treated by others. Even though we talk about them in relation to other people, in some ways, boundaries are really about your relationship with yourself. They help you honor your needs, your goals, feelings, and values. I do need to be very clear here, though. Having unhealthy boundaries is not the reason somebody hurts you. The entirety of the blame for hurting another person is on the person doing the hurting. You did not and cannot make anyone do anything. It is their choice to cause harm, and it's not your fault. And then another topic you might cover with a women's support counselor is self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, self-love. In an abusive, intimate partner relationship, often these areas are deeply impacted. And so recognizing your strengths and all of the amazing things about you can be really helpful in healing. And then reconnection and healing. So this is where I work most often. And so we often think we're protecting children in youth by not talking to them about family violence, but we severely underestimate their ability to pick up on things and completely overestimate our ability to keep things from them if we are not being truthful with them in age-appropriate ways, and helping them work through their feelings about family violence. I assure you they're still working through it, only they're doing it alone. We cannot heal or soothe what we don't acknowledge. When children have big feelings, or when their big feelings become big behaviors, much of our society has taught for generations to isolate, to seclude, to withdraw, or to try and reason with them with words. What these behaviors actually tell us is that they need us to pull them closer in whatever way is comforting for that particular child. Quick tangent, the try to reason with kids who have big behaviors thing always gets me. So we all have, this is our brain, and we all have a downstairs brain and an upstairs brain. The downstairs brain is our survival brain. It's primitive, but it keeps us alive. Our upstairs brain is the part that's like, nah, downstairs brain, it's cool, I got this, it's safe, we're safe, and then reasons it out. What happens in your children is that their downstairs brain is much stronger than their upstairs brain. When their downstairs brain grabs a hold of a situation, their upstairs brain can't hear anything you're saying. They need to be back in a place where their upstairs brain can get a word in before they even hear you. So trying to reason with a child whose downstairs brain is taking hold right now is not going to accomplish much other than to continue to frustrate them and you. Further to this, children who experience a lot of stress have had their downstairs brain working out and beefing up for a really, really long time. It's strong. And so the behaviors might be bigger or last longer or be more frequent. And this can be a sign of excessive stress. A few of the most important pieces of information to give your child or children are, and I'm actually going to use my friend Pickles, who helps me out with the kids right now. So this is Pickles, and he's going to help me out with this one. This is Pickles, and Pickles has some information to give you to help your kids work through some of this stuff. So a few of the most important pieces of information to give are: one, it's not your fault, ever, ever, ever. It's never your fault. It's never your fault. Two, you are not alone. There are literal shelters out here to help people who are going through the same thing. You're not alone, and there are other people going through this too. Three, I'm here with you. Yeah, I'm here with you and I can help. And four, it's safe to talk to me about this. Yeah, the kids need to know that, huh? Yeah, kids need to know that it's safe to talk to you about this. Not your fault. You are not alone. I'm here with you and I can help. And it's safe to talk to me about this. These are all the things that Pickles helps me connect parents and children with when they come in to see me at first. So I'm gonna put Pickles back to sleep. Bye. Just the last part for this one, when people come to me for parenting support, when there is or has been violence in the home, they're often missing one of the most essential pieces of the puzzle. The thing that will be the most useful in helping children be okay. Often parents are struggling and wanting me to tell them how to manage their children's behavior and emotions, which I'm happy to support them with. But if I had to choose just one piece of advice to give, it would be that the best way to help your child heal and even thrive is to take care of you. You are the key. And not how many courses or courses you take or podcasts you listen to about children's behavior, but how you are taking care of you. Our children lean on our nervous systems to help manage their own. And if we are in a constant state of heightened stress, if we are in a constant state of fear, if we are not feeling safe, if we are not able to regulate ourselves, and if we are not taking care of our own needs, if we are not okay, we are far less likely to be able to help our kids be okay. Children need us to lend them our calm. But we have to have some calm in order to be able to share it. The most important work you do is within yourself and for you. And so getting in touch here, the ShelterSafeca website is great. When you go in there, you can click on any province and see all of the shelters that are there and available and accessible to you. And it even goes through different accessibility features within that shelter as well. And then obviously reach out to Dynes, the call or text the toll-free number there. And a couple of resources, which we'll go over, I think, later in the resource section as well. The FamilySmart.ca, it's not specific to family violence, but they help children and young people by helping their family and other caring adults to understand, to have, to develop some skills and to really help them work through some stuff. Self-Reg. It helps understanding the effects of excessive stress on behavior, social emotional development, intelligence, empathy, motivation, and character. So some of those things that I had talked about before about excessive stress and things came directly from a self-reg lens. And just some Instagram accounts that are worth the follow. I have a section there for mostly taking care of young children and their, in particular, their emotional needs. Respectful parenting in the middle is for children of a wider range of ages. And then some mental health support for you, just to help explain what's going on for you and to maybe give you some aha moments of, that's what that is. And a whole lot of empowerment. And I just wanted to end with this quote before I pass it over to Megan. The very fact that you are worrying about being a good parent means that you already are one. And so the work that I do with parents is often strength-based because there are so many things that you're already doing that are pretty amazing. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Amanda, for your very powerful and informative presentation tonight on gender-based violence and parenting and the preventative work that you do within your community at Dynes to support those people experiencing gender-based